Good day. My name is Steve Young, and I'm a Cloud Solution Architect with Microsoft Canada. This is a video recording of a tutorial walkthrough that I provided for a virtual workshop. As sessions have gone from in-person to virtual, I recorded this tutorial as we were not able to provide hands-on labs. The tutorial is itself available at the link shown below. So we used this video as a walkthrough of the tutorial that people could then do on their own. I divided the tutorial up into 9 parts, so each was roughly 5 to 9 minutes, and we'd stop for questions in between each portion. I did not include Demo 2, a walk through the interface, nor Demo 7, orchestrate activities with pipelines, in this recording, as we covered those topics in more detailed discussions. So let's get started. So in the next demo, we're going to load and query data both in our SQL pool and Synapse pool. But since this is the test environment, I want to start the SQL pool. So as I go to Manage, the SQL pool, you'll see a Start button. So I click on Start. Resuming will start the pool. And then it'll just be a second or two, and the resuming will finish, and the pool will be running. And after a couple seconds, you'll see the database is online and running. And the big thing to note about the SQL pool versus the Spark pool is that if your Spark pool is paused, all you have to do is run a query against the Spark pool and it will start up. However, the SQL side of the world, you actually have to have it running before it'll accept any queries. So for our demos, we're going to load in the New York City taxi sample data into the SQL DB1 database that we've created. Now up here in the upper right, you'll see a question mark. So if I select this, you'll see a Getting Started and a Getting Started hub. So if I select the Getting Started hub, you'll see that you can take a tour of Synapse, or what this will also provide you with is a way to load sample data into our SQL DB1 for queries. So what we're going to do is select the instance and load data, and it'll take a second or two. So once the data is loaded, you'll get this green bar at the top saying you were successful. And for this moment, I'm going to click on Get Started with Sample Scripts. So what it's going to do is load some sample scripts here for you to take a look at. And we're just going to close out of that. So you'll see 2 Getting Started scripts, one sample query, one bring your own data, and we'll get to those in a little while. So to get us started, if we take a look at the SQL pool, you'll see the tables that were created when we loaded the sample data. And here under Actions, we're just going to create a new SQL script. And let's just select top 100 rows. So this gives us a SQL script, some items, and we have connectivity. So there's a button over here in Properties. We're going to create a name for this script, passenger count, and enter a description. For sample script passengers. And again, if you are creating scripts in your environment, you want to provide names that are meaningful and descriptions that are meaningful, because you're going to find that this being a collaborative environment, you're going to have a number of people creating objects. You can create folders and you can create areas for all of these. But again, collaboratively, you want to make sure you provide names that are meaningful and descriptions. So I'm going to pop in here, and the tutorial that we're currently running through for these demos, I'm going to copy the passenger count script, and what I'm going to do is replace that script and paste in the passenger count script. So let's take a run of this script. You'll see that it started the execution, it's executed, and here we have our passenger counts. Now, what you'll notice here, if you're used to SQL notebooks, which we'll get into in a little while in another demo, but here you have a table, you can export the results, you have a chart. So anybody who is using any of the machine learning notebooks, etc., you're used to this kind of environment where you've got a result table, you've got a chart, I can change the lines. So it gives you some interactivity. So if you're providing queries to do discovery, your analyst can do a little bit of work here to make sure that their query was right and providing the information that they were looking for. So to finish this side up, we've got the passenger counts. We can take a look, do we run the SQL on demand or SQLDB? And we're using the database SQLDB. So it just shows you where this script is connected to. But right now, this is only saved here in this web page. But we can publish these scripts. So I'm going to publish all three. And that will publish. If we come into develop, and now here are these SQL scripts here and saved, and I can come back and run these scripts. So let's take a look at loading data into the SQL pool from a data lake. This being a quick demo, I've already have the script here. So you're going to use the copy command to copy weather data from a blob store. It's in a Parquet file, has a open shared access signature, and it's going to create the table weather and load that data in. So if I click run, and it's now finished. So it loaded 10 million rows of data in about 57 seconds from the blob store into the SQL pool. So if I come over to the data, look at the SQL pool, and I refresh my tables, I'll see weather. And if I say SQL script, select top 100 rows. So I've now loaded data from the data lake into the SQL pool. And again, using the copy function. So since I've now finished, you'll notice that it says congratulations. When you're done exploring, pause or delete the pool. So what we're going to do is pause the pool. But first, I want to publish these scripts so that I've saved my changes. I'm then going to go to manage my SQL pools, and then SQL DB1. I'm going to pause. And since I don't have any active queries, I'm going to pause that SQL pool. And in the next tutorial, let's load some data into the Spark pool.